Kusuzangpo, and a very warm welcome to our presentation on Bhutan, the land of the Thunder Dragon. Located in South Asia, Bhutan neighbors India and China. The capital city is Thimphu, the only world capital without any traffic lights. Bhutan has a small population of approximately 800,000 people, and the national language is Songkha. However, a large portion of the population do speak English, and we have a community of Thais in the capital city. The currency is called Nyoltrum, and for 1 baht, you'll get 2 Nyoltrums. The government is a democratic constitutional monarchy with the king and prime minister. In Bhutan, healthcare is free for both residents as well as visitors. The Bhutanese government, however, imposes a minimum spend on visitors amounting to $250 a day, which includes travel and accommodation. It is almost impossible to travel independently through Bhutan. You must use a travel agent, and for this we recommend using the service of Kelki Holidays. They are an inbound cultural tour operator focused on Asian markets, especially Thais. Now moving on to the greetings, shaking hands is not a Bhutanese tradition, but it is becoming quite common. A formal greeting is to bow with hands open and outstretched and the palms up while saying Kusuzangpula, which translates to hope your health is well and is the equivalent of saying hello. This is used for formal settings and for older people and superiors. Otherwise, we normally greet each other with a simple hi or hello. We also use the suffix la as an honorific term and feel that omitting it makes our remarks sound harsher. As for the weather in Bhutan, it is ideal in spring and autumn, particularly in March and April, and also from mid-October to mid-November. It is important to note that Bhutan's summer is colder than Thailand's winter, so the implication for Thai tourists is that you'll need to be prepared to brace colder weather while traveling in Bhutan, so pack some warm clothing with you. The national dress is mandatory for offices and schools. It is called the go for males, which is a garment that wraps around the body like a coat, reaches the knee, and is worn with a belt. For females, it's called kira, secured at shoulders with a clip, while a woven belt holds the garment in place. However, after hours, Bhutanese people can be seen in Western outfits like jeans and shirts. In winter, people normally wear warm clothing like thermals, wind jacket, warm boots. In summer, light clothing with a jacket and sweater for the evening. For Thai tourists, there isn't much of an implication here because the government allows tourists to dress as they see fit. However, we do recommend you to try on the national dress. Moving on, Bhutanese cuisine, a typical meal features rice, dried beef or pork, and chilies cooked with soft white cheese. There are hardly any curries without chilies in them, making most of our dishes very spicy. The most popular beverage is butter tea, which is served hot and salty. So the implication here is that Thais might misunderstand how spicy it can be because most of the Thai dishes are spicy but with some sweetness in them, whereas for Bhutanese dishes it is plain hot. So maybe try a bit and decide if you can handle the heat. And for those of you who can't, we recommend you to dine at some Thai restaurants that are in the capital city, like Lemongrass Restaurant, which is owned by a Thai owner specializing in Thai cuisine, and it is located right in the center of town, so it is convenient. Now, talking about the mobile or internet connectivity, it is good in big towns like Thimphu, Paro, Trongsa, but while traveling on the road between valleys, the network might be bad. So we recommend you get a Bhutanese SIM card from the telecom or Touchcell. The tourist attractions in Bhutan are plenty, so we will talk about 4 here. The first one is Paro Taksang, which is almost synonymous to our country. It is otherwise called the Tiger's Nest Monastery. It hangs on a cliff at a height of a little over 3,000 meters. The second one is the large Buddha statue standing at a height of 169 feet at Kunsal Phodrang, and the third one is Dochla Pass, consisting of 108 stupas built in the memory of Bhutanese soldiers who died in a war against the insurgents from India. And the fourth one is Pobjika, where you can see black-necked cranes migrating in November, and there is a beautiful hike in the valleys that you can enjoy as well.
Here are some practical tips for Thai tourists. Have all computers, cellular telephones, cameras, or any other electronic devices registered with Bhutanese customs upon arrival. These items will also be checked upon departure. Bhutan is one of the safest countries in the world. However, you should still exercise caution when visiting. Please ensure that your belongings, especially your passports, cameras, wallets, and purses, are properly secured. As the tour packages are prepaid, you'll only need money for your own personal expenses, souvenirs, tips, or for the driver and tour guides. Do pack warm clothes, especially if you're traveling between the months of November and March. As a general tip, it would be wise to always have a jacket when traveling in Bhutan, regardless of the seasons, as you will experience huge changes in elevation with certain valleys colder than others. You don't have to tip in restaurants and hotels, unlike Western countries. The guide will take care of tipping on your behalf. However, do take note that you have to tip your guide. The roads tend to be windy, so if you are prone to motion sickness, bring Dramamine or other medication to prevent nausea, as you will be spending a lot of time in the car traveling around Bhutan. Bring along a multi-purpose electrical plug and universal travel adapter. Most hotel rooms have limited electrical plugs, so it will be wise to take along if you have many. Next, we will talk about the do's and don'ts. Starting with the do's. Be prepared to carry Bhutanese currency with you, and most mall shops do not have credit cards. Do not take credit cards. US dollars, traveler's checks, and other currencies can be exchanged at major banks in larger towns. Refrain from passing negative comments on religion and the royal family. Locals are very sensitive. You may not want to sound rude. Always ask for permission if you are photographing a person. Enter temples and monasteries only if you have permission. Remove your shoes before entering the temple. Leave your camera at a safe place if photography is prohibited. Refrain from using hats and sunglasses inside religious places. Use your right hand or both hands to give or receive. Leaving a donation at the temple is at personal discretion. Normally all Bhutanese do. Use your palm to show rather than finger when pointing. Refrain from pointing your feet at anyone. Cross your legs or kneel when sitting in religious places. And lastly, ensure you walk in clockwise direction when visiting religious places. Moving on to the don'ts. Do not forget that smoking is strictly prohibited in most of the areas in Bhutan. Bhutanese stores are also not allowed to sell tobacco. Visitors are permitted to bring 100 cigarettes into the country, provided that they are willing to pay 200% tax. Do not wear shorts in monasteries and public buildings and monasteries, as it is considered to be a sign of disrespect. Do not climb on or do anything that would show lack of respect to Buddhist artifacts or antiques. They are regarded as sacred. Do not throw garbage anywhere except designated places.